Well, good morning, everybody. It's 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. I appreciate all of you taking the time to join us today. Angela has sent me a list of the possible attendees, and I know we'll probably have a few others join us. I have 14 people who registered for today's meeting, and I've kind of been just watching, I guess, at the top and clicking you off as I see people arrive. So I want to make sure that I'm getting everybody. So I guess I can just take attendance that way, and I'll get that back to Angela today. So call the meeting to order. We have some minutes to review from our last meeting, which was on Thursday, January the 3rd. Angela had all that good stuff uploaded for us. So I'm going to try to share and see if we can see it from there. Hopefully she has that. And it doesn't look like she has that up ready to go. So I apologize. Did everyone receive it in their email, the minutes from the past meeting?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Great.
Yep.
I can just briefly review them. The meeting was called to order just after 2. We had some technical difficulties, sort of like this. We reviewed the minutes from the May 16th meeting. Richard shared our update of the checkouts and holds. There's a little bit of detail there with 71% of the consortium's checkouts are ebooks, while 29% are the e-audiobooks. July 2018 is still our largest circulation month to date. And we experienced our largest month of spending with over $13,000 of content purchased in December. So I was really glad to see that. Richard was hopeful we have big checkouts for January, February, and March. We'll get to that in a minute. Those attending the meeting agreed they were happy with the 6 checkouts because we've moved to that, and 6 holds per patron. You will have your library's renewals. Everybody should have those by now. We talked a little bit about adding magazines through Overdrive. Shelley with Hillsborough Library did join us, and she expressed from the small, tiny library's perspective just what a budget increase might do for them. We heard from that. So I did reach out to Diva, and that thing with Overdrive is just continuing to grow. They have more magazines to offer. The pricing structure kind of changes a little bit. There might be more wiggle room, so that's not a bad thing. Also, there is a new leadership position available for Library on the Go. I'd like to step away and bring in some new people as there's time or opportunity. So we'll continue to work toward that. Eric Monkman with Vespasian Warner shared that curation is going really well, and he'd like to have more volunteers to assist with this. Anyone can contact him. He's happy to walk them through. So that's basically the minutes from the meeting in January. Does anybody have any changes that they'd like to see to those minutes? Any questions about the minutes or anything? If not, then I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Thank you, Richard. And a second?
Second.
Thanks, Eric. And if everybody just wants to vote, say aye.
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 All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. Okay. So at this point in the meeting, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Hudson. She's a colleague of mine here at Effingham, and she has stepped into Richard's role. Thank you, Richard, for mentoring you through that. And she's got our Overdrive report.
So our checkouts for March were really good. We had 19,546. That has increased 10.5% in the past 6 months. Last September, it was 17,677. The number increase from 6 months ago is 1,869. So we did good there. A year ago, in March 2018, it was 16,471 checkouts. So our increase from a year ago was 18.67%.
Great. So almost a 20% increase.
Yes.
Okay.
So January 2019 is our newest year-to-date largest circulation month, and that was 20,073. So we went over that hump of 20,000.
That's great.
For the checkout, 68.4% of the consortium's checkouts are ebooks, and 31.5% are audiobooks. I feel like that's not really that big of a difference either. I was kind of surprised. The average hold wait times for April this year, I think it was March this year, 48.63 days. And last year in April, it was just 23 days. So that number has doubled.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah. So we need to figure out how we can make that hold time better and shorten it. If anyone has extra money, please purchase some of the items that have the most holds. I think you should have got a overdrive report from Jonna, and those 10 books are on there. They're ebooks and audiobooks. There's a couple of them. The first 3 are Where the Crawdads Sing, 9 Perfect Strangers, and The Reckoning. Those ebooks have a bunch of holds on them. There's 147 holds on Where the Crawdads Sing, and the ratio for that is 16. So 16 people.
So clearly we need to buy another copy of those 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if anyone is looking for new titles to purchase, there are some coming out this week. Neon Prey by John Sanford, The Mother-in-Law by Sally Hempworth, I Know Who You Are by Alice Feeney, The Trouble with Vampires, Lindsay Sands, and Nanaville by Anna Quinlan. I think those will be some popular books. And then I have a list from Diva for the curation. The total checkouts for the curated lists for the last 6 months was 3,702. So good job, Eric. You created some good lists and people had a lot to choose from. For the kids checkouts, we had the most checkouts from the list were Going on a Book Hunt. There were 38. For the main lists, there were 218 checkouts from the Winter Reads list, and from the teens, there were only 8 with The Reading is Very Good. I think that was a graphic novel list. And then for the holds, from the curated list, there were 215. The kids, it was a tie between Books Are Worth Melting For and the Who Is, What Are books. There were just 2 holds for those, so it's not many from the kids. But for the main page, we had Humor is the Best Medicine. That one had the most holds. It had 13 holds. And then for the teens, we also had 2 lists that also tied with 3 holds. It was With Great Power Comes Great Responsibility. I think that was like a supernatural one. And then we had popular teen reads, so what was popular at that time. And for the page views of what people have been looking at after they open the Overdrive and the Libby apps and they see those lists, we had For the kids, there were 102 page views for We're Going on a Book Hunt. For the main page, it was the most popular mysteries with 1,471 page views. So that one had the most views out of all of the pages that we created. And I thought that was awesome because that's over 1,000. For the teens, it was popular teen books with 81 page views. And the average time that someone spent on a page was 33 seconds.
We sent this out to everybody, Lisa.
I sent it to Eric.
Great.
And that is it. If you want me to send it out to everyone, I can.
Okay. Is everybody familiar with, so Lisa's kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but not really. I'm glad she's talked about our holds and what we need to be purchasing. So as we review this, we'll go over those just briefly because it's really significant that our increase in days, my goodness, it's almost doubled the amount of time people are waiting for things. And clearly we have more libraries coming on too. So we want to be responsive to this. But our curation's really working as well. And Eric and Lisa work really hard to keep the Libby app, what's happening inside of it, really fresh and new. So we could probably use, if anyone's interested in volunteering or learning more about that, I know I know Eric and Lisa would welcome their
Eric will get into that.
Yeah, their expertise. So yeah.
More ideas about lists. We need ideas for lists sometimes too.
Yeah. Okay. So, Richard, did you want to touch base with anything else with the review of holds?
Jonna, the only thing I would say is I remember in previous meetings, some of the smaller libraries always had concerns about exactly what they should be purchasing and that kind of thing. I believe if they can just look at this holds list and help out with that, I think they'll be making some great purchases for the consortium.
Right, they really will. And again, Lacey's great about making those easy to buy carts. She's kept those going. And anyone can call one of us. You can call our library, you can call Lacey, and we'd be happy to help you because Diva's great about helping all that come together in the background.
I was going to say at the last small pubs meeting I went to, there was a couple directors who are still fairly new and still feel a little overwhelmed by Overdrive and had asked if I could put something together. I have not had time, but I would like to do like a little crash course in purchasing. I've done some one-on-one with individuals who needed it, and I think it would be better in person. Kind of hard to do that. I mean, I could share my screen and show what I'm doing. So if nothing else, maybe do a Zoom training, because a very quick thing is to pull up the reports, run the hold, the hold report, sort it by the copy ratio, and then you can hyperlink to each one, throw them in the cart, and then I go back and I preview my cart and I delete stuff I decide I don't want and I buy. And it takes like 30 minutes. It's not a very time-consuming thing if you're just trying to fill those holds. Now, if you're going to pick new titles, obviously that might take a little bit more time. But again, I purchase my print titles and then I look and see what I bought in print and then I buy that in an ebook. So I think it's just some little bit of training that maybe we need to do. And I'd be willing to do that, like I said, if I can find a few minutes.
Well, and actually, Lacey, that's a great point because we probably ought to try Zoom too. I've been talking to the new directors and walking them through some of them because bless their hearts, some of them don't even have their login. They're like, oh, that person left with the login. So, we've been working through some of that too. So we have been just like making phone calls, and maybe that's what we should do is just set up time and make appointments and help you out too. So
Hi, Diva. Can you hear me all right, Jonna?
Yes, Diva, we've got you too.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got in about 2 or 3 minutes late, but in terms of training, we also have a staff librarian that I work with. Her name is Jane Whitehurst. She is more than happy to, if you have a date and time, we can even generate a Zoom link and we can do a training, record it for those that can't make it. and you can take it from there. Or in Marketplace, under the Resource Center, there is a section. If you click the Resource Center, it does have a library track. We have live trainings on various topics, and everything that we've done live, we've also archived. There's a description of the topics, the duration, and they're on demand. So, you know, there's quite a bit that we can do to support you in terms of training. So you just have to say the word and we'll do it.
Great. Okay. Anything further about the review of holds or the curation pieces?
Curation also, this is Diva. Jane is also able to provide you with ideas. We have internally, they brainstorm the library staff for, you know, with ideas of curations that we do for other partners. So again, it's just a matter of, you know, I could put her together with Eric, and maybe there could be just a little bit of communication, and she can send him some lists of curation ideas that we generate internally, and, you know, to help you get some ideas.
Yeah, we've done that in the past and we appreciate it. So we'll keep that in mind. Thank you. So welcome to new libraries. This is pretty exciting. We've got Lodi Library that has come on, and we also have Mattoon Public Library that has chosen to join Overdrive. So welcome to both of those libraries. And then, as I shared earlier, the Mansfield Library, which apparently is like maybe Blue Ridge Township, they're interested as well. So we've got some great opportunities, some more faces to welcome aboard, and more people to serve. So excited about that. And we'll just keep seeing what happens. All right. So at this time, I just wanted to give Diva, I'm going to say like maybe 5-7 minutes, Diva, just to kind of talk about the magazine update, just so folks are kind of aware. And then maybe we could have a little bit of question and answer with that. And I know that some people have some other questions too. So if you could let us know where Overdrive is with magazines. We talked about this in the past, and we had our pricing tier in front of us. There is some concern from our small libraries that they are not going to be able to absorb that increase, and that's legitimate. So we want to be really sensitive to that. And yet at the same time, other libraries like us, I know Effingham, we are thinking about that option. So we just kind of wanted to keep it on the table, and if you could give us a brief update of that.
Okay, I don't know if you're able to share. I just redid the pricing grid. Our wonderful tech people here, we have a data services department. They came up with an interactive grid that factors the library member count, the dollar value of your consortium fee tiers, and then it pulls out the dollars actually of what it would cost per tier. So I have like new numbers that include the 2 new members. So I could show that if you'd like, or if you want to have me just email that to you, Jana, and then you could push it out to members, whatever is.
If you can share it, Diva, I think everybody would be interested in seeing it, so we kind of have a sense of where it's at. And Diva, is this for 25 or 50 magazines, or do you have it across?
I have it across.
Okay, okay.
So, you know, I don't know. I think, I don't know if I can share or if you have to allow me to share.
Well, I would be happy to. I think
I don't remember how that works, because I know I use Zoom, but I share my own. So do you have to give me permission to share?
I think
Oh,
you
I
just
see.
put up what you have on your screen at the bottom. There's a share screen button. You just click on that.
Okay.
So pull the document up on your screen and then do the flip over to the Zoom meeting and do share screen. I think that's how it works.
I'll try here. All right. Okay, I think I might be able to handle this. We just started using Zoom here at Overdrive, so I'm trying to get better at it. I just thought
we can see your screen.
We can. Great.
Okay, let me just see if I can move you all down. Do you see, let me just put you up high. Do you see the cost per tier? It's actually, let me see if I can move this so that you can see the tier. Try. The dollar value, so the lowest tiers are, this is the first column shows the actual what you pay for participation.
Right.
And then it gives how many members are part of this, you know, pay the 800. And then it calculates the proportion, whether you're at 25 titles, 50, 75, or 100. I have to ask them to, we just like a week or two ago received a 10 title count, but it's, I think there's some contingencies with that you have to have a bigger package to go with it. So for today, I think just so you can see that a 25 title package would, for those lowest tier libraries, be $188.98, and so on down the line. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does to me. Does it make sense to everyone else?
Yeah. So if you are a bigger tier library, one of these, the proportion that your contribution toward magazines it goes up proportional to the fees.
Well, I don't understand what the first column, the one that says dollar value, what is that?
That's your annual participation fee to Overdrive.
Okay, so that's what we're currently paying to Overdrive to be involved. So that's, and
Right.
then the colored columns is what the additional cost would be per year for magazines at each of those different levels.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
if you are a larger library, there's not a lot of bigger libraries, their proportion is higher. So if you're falling into one of those 5, there's a 2 $2,400 libraries, 1 $3,600, and 2 $4,800. Their additional cost for 25 magazines would be $1,133 and change, and then $850.
With the idea that their members would use the magazines more because they have
Right.
would do that.
Right. Plus, we big libraries have a little bit more money to spend. You know, just be fair. You know, so I'm pleased with that. That's fine. I'm sure I'm one of those top 5. I think.
Yeah. So I'll send you this grid so that you can, you know, push it out to your members. And it gives you, this is like the latest thing based on the last 2 libraries that joined. I think I had sent you something back around the holidays, Jonna.
Right.
This is updated, so it actually dropped.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, these are, and just to clarify for everybody, it's been a little while since we talked about it, but the magazines are simultaneous use. Is that right?
Correct.
Great. And also you had mentioned The Economist. Are you able to get that one?
Not yet. You know, they've been telling us since mid-February that they are, we work with one magazine distributor now, and they're in, you know, dialogue with the other distributor. We're trying to get rights to another distributor, which includes The Economist. They seemed pretty optimistic in February that, you know, things were advanced. They were, the negotiations were very positive. I personally have been pushing because I have a couple that probably would have signed on May 1, and without The Economist, they retained their current supplier. But, you know, that's the way it goes. I keep asking, but I don't have anything firm yet in terms of that secondary distributor. So I'm hoping, but, you know, even for 25, I don't know what people are paying for. A lot of our competition is, you know, is RB Digital. And in some of the groups in Illinois, one of your sister groups, Media on Demand, one of the members was paying $12,000 just for one library. So, you know, and their pricing grid shakes out pretty reasonable as well. So, you know, it's just a matter of maybe, you know, if you can live without The Economist, fine, or retain The Economist for your, you know, the libraries that need it, you know.
I didn't mean to hijack the conversation there, because I know you would be able to provide us a list of the magazines when we're ready to pull the
that too.
So, okay.
We have 150 right now, but a portion of them are international because we do serve libraries globally, and so you'd have to filter through. I have also an Excel spreadsheet that I pulled out of Marketplace. So, you know, there are some UK, Australian, and Asian publications in that 150, but it's still pretty decent list.
Okay. Did anybody else have questions for Diva regarding that?
Yes, this is Donna. Just remind me, it's been a while since the conversation. If we decided, no, we couldn't afford this, is that preventing anyone else from saying yes to it?
Right, yes.
So the group has to decide.
Whenever we choose to do magazine, or I'll explain whenever you choose to do magazines, it becomes live for everybody. We can't just turn it off for one library and have it for the rest, is what I've always understood.
Yes, that's correct.
Well, if I understand her grid, then if we would try it at the 25 titles, you know, kind of maybe to get our feet wet, the smaller library, if I'm reading this correctly, is we're only on the hook for $189.
Correct.
In addition to the other platform fees and stuff.
Right. So just a shade under $1,000, you would have, you know, the Overdrive collection as well as you know, a lower level magazine package. Some of the libraries that I've talked to that are smaller probably wouldn't be able to pick up any magazines for that price. So,
well, I was actually an initial no on this, but I think it was because of the fee structure that I saw originally. If it's truly 188, my vote would change on that point.
That's good. That's good to know, Donna. The fee structure hasn't changed that much. It's gone down $20, which is great.
Well, no, but I may have misunderstood the first round of it.
Yeah.
And when you did that first paper, or you sent a survey, I think.
I did.
But I know I was a pretty solid no at that point. So
and that's fine. But I have heard from other small libraries, and I would like to get their input on this one and see how they'd feel about it, because it does keep it under 1,000. So I appreciate this, Diva. This is really good information.
Yeah, I'm excited, you know, and if we get a few more libraries, it'll just it'll drop, you know, the more, you know.
Clearly, because we've just added 2 and it's made a significant or a nice difference. So, yeah.
So,
Any questions for Diva?
So my understanding is we get to pick what the 25 titles would be, right, out of the selection of the 150.
So that would be, I guess you'd have to vote. We could also provide suggestions of titles that are highly searching or highly bought, you know, based on the other groups and libraries that are buying our magazines. We could give you like, here's the top 50 that most of our partners are purchasing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else for Diva? If not, then Diva, if you want to take that screen down.
Sure.
Yeah, good job.
Okay, so I have to unshare, right? Yeah, okay. Stop sharing. I could, well, I don't need to put the list up. It's kind of dry. So, yeah. We'll just send you the list and send you the grid.
That'd be great.
Okay.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. On our agenda next is just the leadership position that's open. It's a reminder. If someone's interested, I would love to talk to you. Yeah, we've got a great team. So please, don't hesitate to reach out. And curation reminders. So Lisa and Eric, if you guys want to talk a little bit about that.
I'm going to let Eric talk first about it.
Great.
I don't know what to say. Mainly the stuff I'm going to talk about was talk to Diva about the list she sent out to us. Are you still on there, Diva?
Oh, yeah, sure. I have to see if I could pull it up here so I can see it on my side. Are there specific questions from that?
I was wondering, is there a way we can limit it to each library to see what each of our patrons are doing? You know, like what my
Oh, the results as far as the usage. That report is a productionized report. We've actually developed a full suite of those, and it doesn't allow for isolating advantage libraries.
Is there a way that the team could work on something like that?
In terms of getting curation reports for advantage libraries, or do you mean
For each,
whether or not advantage libraries can curate? That's true. It's just the reporting that we pull for results is not possible. I could certainly put in a request to see if they could break it out by advantage library.
well, the reason why I'm asking is the fact that this would be a good report for libraries to take to their boards to perhaps bring in more money or justify getting more money. If you see, and developing collection.
Yeah, Eric, I would be happy to send you a list of some of the productionized reports we have.
Okay.
And or even just to Jana and Eric, and that way you can review them. There are some that might help with that budget question, because we've had those requests in the past that do allow for some data to support advantage libraries. So I will send you a list of what is available at the moment, because that's not the first time we've had that question, for sure.
And also, you did it for a 6-month period. Is there a way to do it for a monthly period?
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to give you something, you know, to view. We can, I can request that the curation report, we can tighten it up to a month or a quarterly report. You know, I just we'd never done it for you, so I said, let's go back 6 months.
Well, I'd appreciate that. For those, I think it'd be something that'd be good for all the members to be able to see if they're interested in looking at it, just to see what kind of books are being selected or what kind of lists are being most looked at, which I think will help us to decide where we want to spend our money at.
Yeah, we have quite a few. So Eric, I'll send you the laundry list and the details of what those reports contain, and maybe we can get you started on a few right away. Their turnaround is just a few days.
Okay.
So it's not even something that, like we used to have to request it and outline what we wanted, and they finally came up with a suite. I know they're going to probably continue to add more and grow that. So it's all good.
And I had another question here. I noticed there was a difference between, like, we had 3,702 checkouts total from their created list, but we had 20,000 page views. Is that because people aren't finding what they're wanting? Do you know, is there a way to tell if somebody finds something eventually?
Let me see if I can pull up that report.
I'm sorry, Diva, we couldn't hear you.
I have to see if I can pull up the report that I sent you so that I could be on the same page as you.
Because I'm just wondering if patrons are coming into Library on the Go and not finding what they want and leaving, or if they're just, you know. And I mean, a lot of these reports, if we can get them limited to library, we could also do focus groups with patrons to find out what they want a little bit easier.
I'm struggling to find it quickly to answer your questions. So yeah, I would say that generally when you're talking about checkout versus page view, it could be, you know, that reason that they're not finding what they need, or, you know, they were interrupted internally, but general, you know, it's browsing is limited to availability or external factors with the user. Our peak times for use are generally after dinner for, you know, in North America. I mean, it's pretty much the peak times for all of our users are evenings after dinner, anywhere. It starts rising at 5, 6 p.m. and throughout the evening. And then it drops off, you know, in later toward 11, 12 at midnight. But it could be that you just have holds and they're turned off by that. One of the things that I know, John, I believe your team was doing a lot with CPC. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We are.
Yep.
And
Doing a lot of CPC.
yeah, I don't know if the rest of the group, you know, individually, those that have Advantage have opted that, or if it's something that you might consider activating for just Rolling Prairie. But then it gets tricky because then the invoice is going to be going directly to the central account. There was a question of what is cost, it's cost per circ, and that is when you can designate specific titles that may have high holds. You would designate a budget. The high holds would then be activated, and those patrons would be able to check out that title immediately. It's almost like a pseudo simultaneous use with some limitations. I think we talked about it about a year ago when I first took over, and it's actually gained some more traction. A lot of my partners are starting to use it more and more, and we're seeing it at the group levels, at the individual Advantage levels, and when I first introduced it to the team, I think we had around 25,000 titles, and now we're like at 100,001. So quite a bit. I would consider that as a great way to low-cost way to save on your your content credit. As you know, it's just less, more checkouts, and more satisfied patrons.
I've been using it a lot for romance. Like, I've been going through and looking through the romance genre, which I forgot to mention is the most popular genre on the ebooks. And I've been looking at the popular romance ones and putting that as CPC. And also what I've been doing is I've been looking at the recommendation list for our library and going through that and seeing what's available through CPC. Because if there's just one person who's recommending that book, it's better to see if it is cost per circ rather than purchasing the whole title for just one patron.
I also actually have, we travel to the ALAs midwinter as well as the main event in the summer months. And I do have 2 PDFs that I could share with you. Again, I'll email and you can push that out to your members. One is called What's New? Best Practices, and the other one is called Best Practices. Something to kind of take in. It does talk about how to leverage CPC and strategies to circ more and spend less. We hosted a series, 2 webinars, I think it was at the end of February and beginning of March with that topic, and we had record number of attendees. Everybody's interested in that topic. The webinar itself is also archived in the Resource Center. So I can send you the paperwork, and then again, encourage your members, to read that.
Yeah, Diva, do you mind just jumping in there? Let's see, Richard had the question about, or sorry, John did, limited to just your own library patrons with CPC. Can you clarify that for us?
When you activate a title for CPC, yes, under Advantage, it should be only for your patrons.
Right, because then you just pay for that circulation.
Right. Are you finding that some of these are not, if it's not working correctly, please let me know.
No, it's been fine. You're good. Yeah.
Okay.
And Advantage is free now, isn't it? Because before we had to pay to get into it.
I thought it was just like $35.
It's actually one time $250, but the amount, that dollar amount is applied as a content credit. So you just have to initially commit to a $250 content credit. I think that you will be invoiced at the end of the month for the previous month's CPC checkouts. But if you jump into Marketplace under invoicing, I think you can have your content credit applied to cover the invoice if you want to kind of juggle it that way, if you don't want to pay extra.
Right.
So
wow, there's lots there too, Diva. So when this is finished, if you'd send that PDF.
Sure, I will. It's a hot topic. Who doesn't want to save money?
Right. Eric, other curation things you wanted to ask or speak to?
I think most of them have been answered. Thank you.
Sure.
Lisa, did you have anything else to add?
The only thing I was gonna say is that it looks like for the curated list, the main page is still the one with the most checkouts and the holds and everything. So I think that's the one that we have to focus on, is getting those. Eric's doing such a good job with that.
Is there any way to bring more people to the teen and the kid areas? Because I wonder if they even know about it.
I've been doing the kids and the teens.
I know. I mean, so that patrons, I don't think sometimes don't even know about it.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
a good point.
And like that might be the problem right there. I've tried to do on the main list. I try and mention the teens room and the kids room occasionally, and do a list. So I'm
I know one idea that comes to mind for me. I know I think it's the word of mouth to the families and the parents when they're in your physical library. I had shared, one idea would be, I know that most libraries do have story hour for under 5, the preschoolers, and they may have summer reading programs, and just to alert the parents that there is a digital collection. I think our culture is pretty much accepted that most folks have a mobile device or an iPad or some type of tablet available to them. And I even personally know some, younger moms that have said, I tell them I work for Overdrive, and they're like, oh my gosh, instead of plopping them in front of the TV, or if we're going somewhere, we check out the read-alongs, trying to find a way to just verbally and have your youth and children's librarians put the word out, when they're doing their programming to the families, and you might see some more action that way. Just incorporating, that.
It's a good reminder.
Yeah, and if any of your libraries are looking for Libby materials, I can, have them get in touch with me. We do send out Libby kits, and, it would be just like, okay, we just concluded our story hour, and if you want to encourage the kids to read, here's a Libby card, download the app, check out, Mom, make sure you check out some of the read-alongs, and you'll drive circulation, you'll drive more activity to those kids and teens pages. Another idea would be, everyone has different varying relationships with their local schools. We encourage library and schools, to get together. We do have a number of school partners that are using our new school app called Sora. And Sora is built on the framework as Libby. The technical setup is very similar, and so those two apps, air quotes, talk to each other. And so a student that's using Sora, because their school has Overdrive, can add their local library as, add my library, and they have access to your, they are restricted to YA and children's titles or juvenile titles. They do not have any way to access adult materials. And so just getting the word out to the schools that are using Overdrive, that just to kind of communicate, although our school account managers are trying very hard to get the word out as well. So if you do see in any of your reports Sora traffic, That's where that's coming from. But again, the word of mouth, the actual communication between your individual libraries and the school can maybe facilitate that.
Okay, thank you, Diva.
Sure.
Okay.
Is Libby looking at getting maybe put on to Kindle or being able to use on Kindle yet?
Oh, we've been waiting for Amazon, and it's been quite a while. We don't have anything to report at this time. You know, it's been tough going. I mean, you know, you can send to Kindle from Libby, but the Libby app has not yet been approved in the Amazon, you know, for Amazon. So it's been, we're just keep hoping that, you know, they can work it out. It's beyond my pay grade as far as the background or as to why, but I just know that it's been on the agenda for a good year for sure, if not longer. We do have some fun things that are coming. We're in testing right now. We do have a program that they've been working on for quite a while now, since the first quarter, actually, very intently. We're calling it Lucky Day. It is going to be something that will be rolled out sometime, you know, again, no timeline yet because they're very tight-lipped about these things. They don't want any of us leaking anything. But I do know it's in testing. It's called Lucky Day, and it would be a way for you in the curation tab to designate titles that you have high quantities of, and allow those titles, a subset of those titles, to not be able to place holds. So when your patron signs in, if it's your, if the title's available and it's not checked out, it's your lucky day. So it's kind of fun. I really can't wait for this to be live for everyone, but I do know that it's coming.
Great. Thanks for the update.
Sure.
Okay. I wanted to touch base with just updates to the Library on the Go contact list. That was the next thing on our agenda. Please, if you have changes at your library, reach out to Angela, reach out to me, us, Lacey, someone, and let us know. We're trying to keep our list updated, and we did send out the latest list that we have. We included Lodi. I don't know that we have Matt Toon on there yet because that just came through late last week, but we do want to keep our contact lists up to date. So keep that in mind as you have staff changes. And then finally, is there anything else for the good of the group? Any comments or concerns that you're seeing? Anything that you want to share?
I was just curious, are we going to take another vote regarding magazines then?
Donna, I did not intend to today, no.
Well, not today, but like in the future, like via SurveyMonkey or something.
I would probably entertain that later this year. I think it makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'm crazy, but I think it makes a lot of sense for us to roll that into our next annual bill, so to speak. So if we chose to go live with it, then we would be paying for it in 2020, and we would see it go live then. It gives us a little more time to communicate with all of our members, and it also gives Overdrive a little bit more time because they continue to update their lists. And as you saw, the price came down a little bit. So you never know, our price might come down a little bit further. John's throwing in there, would it be good to do it before we finalize budgets? Are most people on... John, I'm glad you're on the July to June boat. We're on the April to, or the May to April boat. So we're just slightly different, but no problem. Anybody else? We need to somehow share this information. I agree, Rachel. Lisa and I have found the best thing for us is if we just pick up the phone and start calling these smaller libraries and talking to them And many of them then are willing to talk to us. Lacey?
There's a small pubs meeting next week that I plan to attend on May 3rd. I think a lot of our members are there. So
Great.
I can bring this up. Hopefully, maybe if the magazine information has been sent out by then,
We can do that.
Do a little commercial for that, kind of to say, you know, be thinking about this and let us know. Because they will want to at least be thinking about putting that, you know, roughly extra $200 in their budget if we were going to vote on that for the next cycle.
Is a good time. And whenever we did our survey last time, I only had like 16 people or 16 libraries out of the 32 of us respond. So again, that's another thing. I'd really appreciate if you would talk to them in person.
Absolutely.
And I guess with this next one, if we do an online survey, then I'm going to have people say which library you're with, and then we're going to have to chase with phone calls so that we make sure everybody's on board. Is August a good time for people to, or do you want that information? I mean, do you want that information now, like in May to June, for libraries that are working ahead?
I would say send it out now.
Okay.
And maybe mention that we would like to possibly have it for the next billing cycle. And because that will be in the middle of everyone's fiscal year, if they are on board with it, they could go ahead and put that wiggle room into their budget in anticipation of the vote.
Okay.
And hopefully by then we'll have that other distributor that we've been working with.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. I know. I have quite a few that are, you know, it's a deal breaker without the economist, but, you know, it would be awesome to get them in.
Go ahead, Lacey.
I was going to say, if we've got another library coming on, that also could change the fee to use it again.
And maybe,
and then,
go ahead.
When is the RB digital renewal? I see a comment in there.
I don't know. We've gotten out of that.
I looked at it, but I had just signed up with Hoopla, and I was like, you couldn't have given me this like 30 days earlier.
Well, and we know we need to do magazines because I really do have somebody that just keeps knocking on our door about The Economist. So I'm just waiting until that's my big
for you.
Yeah, but everybody else has got other ones that they wait on. So
Rachel says she thinks it's July. Okay. So
okay.
It'd be good to have that information now, I guess, so they can.
Well, and we can put it together. I have the old survey from last time. I just need to update the numbers. I can add a line that says which library you with, so I can make sure that we get everybody. And then thank you, Lisa. She's been great about helping me reach out to all these different libraries and stuff. Because and then we can start. Okay.
And thank you, Lisa, for stepping in with the created list too.
You're welcome, Eric.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
There's lots of great room for growth. So if anybody else is interested in helping, just let us know. There's lots of parts to play.
Yeah, Eric and I would appreciate more ideas too.
Yeah, and just learning to do it. I think Lisa has gained so much insight into Library on, Overdrive as a whole, just being in there doing that. Other things for the good of the group? So definitely magazines, okay? If not, thank you all for joining us. Hey, we're in under the wire. 2 minutes to spare till noon. You'll hear from us this week then. We'll go ahead and get a survey together. We can do that, right, Lisa? We'll send lots of information to Lacey, and we'll look for Diva's emails as well.
Okay, thank you again, and thank you, Jonna, for all your hard work. I know you and I are always sending you those content to spend lists and trying to coordinate, and appreciate it. And thanks to everyone. Go 18% year-over-year cert growth. That's fantastic. So it's taking off for sure.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Dawn. Yeah, do some buying this afternoon. That crawdad advert.
Yeah.
Happy spring.
Yes. Thanks, Diva.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Jonna, do you have to call the meeting to end?
Yes, I probably should. I would yeah, I would entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I
I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.